Alaska is a land shaped by epic geologic forces, one of the world's last true wildernesses. Here you can still escape civilization and witness the grandeur of nature unfolding around you. Twisting, narrow fjords carved over eons serve as scenic highways for great ships. Highways that eventually lead to magical destinations like Glacier Bay National Park, where the glaciers tower over the sea, and where you'll hear the crack and crash of new icebergs as they calve off in blocks the size of houses. In the waters below, whales gulp vast mouthfuls of tiny plankton before coming to the surface to exhale blasts of spray or to catch a glimpse of the distant land. Scattered remote outposts sit along the lushly forested coast, each reflecting a chapter of Alaska's hardscrabble history. Sitka bears traces of the days when Russia ruled these shores, while Ketchikan is studded with the totem poles of native tribes that maintain their ancient traditions to this day. In Skagway, swinging door saloons and trading posts persist from the gold rush glory days, when the town was the gateway of the Klondike. You can still board the White Pass and Yukon Route Railroad, which navigates steep mountains and deep gorges on its way into the famed Yukon Territory. After passing through any of these towns, you'll reach the vast wilderness of the state's interior, where you can pan for gold, cast a line into icy lakes and rivers, or spot moose, bald eagles, and bears on a mountain hike. Bounded by the Puget Sound to the west and Lake Washington to the east, and surrounded by forest and mountains, Seattle, Washington boasts a stunning location. But the largest city in the Pacific Northwest is as much as an homage to human ingenuity as it is to natural beauty. Visitors are spoiled for choice of things to do in Seattle with iconic attractions like the waterfront, Space Needle, Chihuly Garden and Glass, and Pike Place Market, all easily accessible. Juneau, Alaska may well be the most remote, most beautiful, and strangest state capital in the United States. Surrounded by water, forest, and mountain sites, visitors seeking things to do in Juneau, indoors and outdoors, can hike a glacier, eat freshly caught fish on a seaside patio, and tour a grand Capitol building all in one day. The city itself is pleasant, but the real highlight of a visit to Juneau is tracking down some wildlife. You can hike up Mount Roberts to chance upon wild deer and bald eagles. Most sightseeing and whale-watching tours head north to Auke Bay. Bring a good pair of binoculars to get the best view of these majestic and surprisingly graceful creatures. If you prefer land mammals, catch a float plane to a nearby wildlife reserve, such as Chickagoff or Admiralty Island, to spy some bears lolling around. The sleepy, misty city of around 32,000, mostly fishermen and small business owners, has a frontier town vibe, but welcomes more than 1 million visitors each summer to its natural attractions, cementing Juneau as Alaska's #1 tourist destination. Frosted crags descend into mossy forests and a 457-meter deep fjord at this World Heritage Site, which is also one of the planet's largest biosphere reserves. Stone, ice, and water continue to collide, sculpting a dramatic landscape that is the crown jewel of southeastern Alaska's natural wonders. The area's first European explorer missed it all, but with good reason. When Captain George Vancouver sailed here in 1794, a vast shield of ice, more than 1,200 meters thick, dominated the area. In one of the fastest retreats on record, the glacier shrank back 105 kilometers, 65 miles, by 1916. The formerly glacier-squashed land is rebounding now, rising 30 millimeters each year. Visitors can observe this rebirth. A spruce hemlock rainforest has sprouted near the mouth of Glacier Bay. Farther north, the more recently exposed land shows sharper edges and thinner vegetation. Still, it's enough to encourage the return of wildlife, from bald eagles to bears, moose, and humpback whales. While the national park is open year-round, most travelers prefer the warmth of late May to early September. Even in summer, be prepared for any weather, especially rain. Pack a hat, gloves, wool or fleece layers, a warm coat, and waterproof gear if you want to admire the landscape from the open deck of your ship. When a monumental chunk of ice splits off a glacier and thunders into the sea, the impact shoots water hundreds of feet into the air. You hold your breath as you catch the moment on film. Then you wait for it all to happen again. And it does. Glacier Bay has more actively calving tidewater glaciers than any place else in the world. The ports of Alaska inspire visions of remote wilderness outposts, legendary gold rush towns, and native Alaskan villages, all set amid lush forests and frigid glacier-flanked waters. And while you'll certainly find these things in and around Sitka, you'll witness a unique slice of Alaskan history not found anywhere else. Stop by the Visitor Center of the Sitka National Historical Park to peruse its interesting collections of Russian and Native Alaskan artifacts. And then join a ranger-led tour of the battlefield where Russia defeated the native Tlingit people. Sitka also boasts an abundance of epic natural scenery and wildlife. Take a walk up Castle Hill to enjoy an ideal vantage point across the water to the dormant volcano Mount Edgecombe, and trips to the nearby Fortress of the Bear and the Alaska Raptor Center offer up-close encounters with some of Alaska's most captivating creatures. Alaska's first city of Ketchikan is so named because it's the first major landfall for most cruisers as they enter the picturesque fjords of the Inside Passage, where the town clings to the banks of the Tongass Narrows, flanked by green forests nurtured by abundant rain. Ketchikan has long been an important hub of the salmon fishing and packing industries. Visitors can try their luck on a sport fishing excursion or simply savor the fresh seafood at one of the local restaurants. It's also one of the best spots along the Inside Passage to explore the rich cultural insights of Native Alaskan nations like the Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian. You can see intricately carved totem poles at the Totem Heritage Center and Totem Bight State Park, while the attractions of Saxman Village, just outside of Ketchikan, offers the chance to see Tlingit culture in action with working carvers and a dance show in the Clan House. And leave time to explore the sights in the town itself, including historic Creek Street, a boardwalk built over the Ketchikan Creek, where you can shop for souvenirs, smoked salmon, and local art, while exploring Gold Rush-era tourist attractions like Dolly's House Museum. Of all the cities in Canada, Victoria may be the furthest from Great Britain, but it has the most British vibe. Between sipping afternoon tea, visiting flower gardens and castles, and stopping in at pubs, one could easily forget about the Pacific Ocean lapping at the other side of Vancouver Island. The influence of the First Nations culture is also strong here in Victoria, with totem poles taking a front and center position on the Inner Harbor and in Beacon Hill Park. Extensive galleries are devoted to the history of the First People at the Royal British Columbia Museum too, one of Victoria's top tourist attractions. Whale watching cruises and sightseeing float planes take off and return from their excursions here. And government buildings, museums, the Visitor Center, and the Grand Fairmont Empress provide a dignified welcome. Enjoy afternoon tea or a walk in the park, or a shopping trip to Market Square or along Government Street. However you choose to spend your day here or decide where to go in Victoria, the city's civilized delights will charm you. In Seattle, disembarkation typically starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 10 a.m. All guests are subject to Department of Homeland Security screening. Please keep your citizenship documents with you at all times. Holland America Line is pleased to offer Luggage Direct. Once on board, a letter explaining the eligibility requirements will be sent to you. Luggage Direct offers you the opportunity to receive your airline boarding passes and check your luggage into your flight while still on board your Holland America Line ship. Our airline partners will take your luggage directly from the ship to the airport for loading onto your outbound aircraft. You will then claim your luggage when you arrive at your final destination. This option allows you to enjoy your final hours in Seattle at leisure. Imagine your options. 1. Enjoy one of our world-renowned coffee shops. Or 2. Stand in a never-ending line at the airport. The choice is yours with Luggage Direct. Those guests not participating in the Luggage Direct should expect the following. Upon disembarking the ship, all luggage is laid down in the disembarkation hall by color, number order. Once you're invited to exit the ship, please come and find your color, number group, and claim your bags. There are porters available, but individual carts are not available. Please exit the building with all family members and luggage. Once you leave, you cannot re-enter. The porters are salaried employees, and tipping is not required. Immediately outside the doors of the disembarkation hall, you can find Holland America Line motor coach transfers, taxis, and limos. If you have arranged a private pickup by friends, family, or limo, please have them wait in the cell phone waiting lot.